Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So I know this video is coming out about a day later than what I usually post at the beginning of the week, but Mac had some more mouth surgery done, so I apologize for this being a little bit late. But go ahead and drop us a like, because today we are looking at something awesome. We are looking at the Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles Vampirella. I love what Frazetta Girls, what Icon Collectibles has been doing. I have pretty much all of the figures that they've released so far. I have to take a look at this one, and we still have the Norseman to take a look at. And rumor is there's a Conan on the horizon that I'm really looking forward to as well. I just think, like, what they have been doing, their figures are a work of art, which, considering who this is based off of, shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. Because with the box right here, we can see one of the more iconic images of Vampirella from Frank Frazetta filling up the entire front of the box. The Vampirella name stamp across the top, and 1/12 scale action figure across the bottom. Frazetta Icon Collectibles up top, or Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles up top. This is a fantastic packaging job. And it is also a flap that we have a photo of the figure over here. We have the figure here herself, with all of her accessories, swappable head plates, very collector friendly, because like all of the Frazetta Girls figures, the Icon Collectible figures, there's no bands holding her into the plastic. She's just in there, so you can take her out, put her back in, store her in the box. And of course, over here, we have a quote from the man himself. "I have a very personalized woman. You've seen my women. They kind of look alike. I've tried to escape from that, and I was never happy. She's got to have a certain look. Those eyes that I love." Of course, talking about Vampirella right here. I dig this so much. I have loved the Icon Collectibles line, because I've always been a big fan of Frank Frazetta's art. I have mentioned this before in other videos, that I think I was 8 years old and I was able to pick out his artwork by sight. He was the first artist that I could look at something and say, hey, that's Frazetta. I wasn't always right, mind you. I'm not saying I was 100% right when I was 8 years old, but his was the first one that I had developed an eye for. Up top, we have Vampirella, Icon Collectibles. On the bottom, we have barcode, all of our legalness, Vampirella logo on this side, the photo of the figure on this side, and then on the back, a look at the figure and all of the accessories that she comes with. So, without further ado, let's crack this open. Let's get her out of her coffin and take a look at Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles Vampirella. Okay, so here she is, Vampy, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to her, we can see that she is almost exactly 6.5 to the top of her head. So before we get to too much of anything else, I just want to draw attention to this face sculpt. This face sculpt and the paint apps are beautiful. This is what makes Vampy really stand out. That iconic look, those sort of like cat eyes she has going on, those penciled on eyebrows of hers. This is classic Vampirella. The hairpiece she has, everything is just so spot on. There's no paint slop, there's no overspray, not even going down into the bits of her outfit here. There's no overspray anywhere around the reds. The boots, I believe, are just molded in black, so that's no big thing. There's no overspray for the gold right here. This bracelet is loose. That's molded in gold. This may have been molded in gold and then glued into place. Her earrings, everything about her, like the look, the paint apps, everything is just fantastic and spot on. They have been using the same sculptor, Aaron Doyle, and the same paint master, Matt O'Toole, for pretty much all of the figures that I have. And I say, if you got a good thing, stick with it. Like, these two together are making some serious works of art. I had originally thought that there was going to be some reuse from Tigra, but bringing Tigra in, we can see that Vampy is pretty much new sculpt all over. The only thing that I believe might be the same are the arms. The upper arms and the forearms. I think that's it, with this being modified just to accept the bracelet right here. The torsos are different, the necks are different, the legs even are different because, I mean, let's just say it, Vampy's thicker. So everything is new for Vampirella except the arms, I believe. I think this is the only thing that is reuse right here. But like I said before, when we were looking at the paint apps, this iconic outfit of hers is sculpted fantastic to look like the original comic, right down to her golden earrings there, the gold clasp at the neck, the bat symbol at the crotch of her uniform. Like, what else can you say? There's not much to talk about. It's Vampirella, but like, this is just so iconic to the character. I'm really glad they never gave in and just changed her outfit. Like, this is her, no doubt about it. Now, the hairpiece, unfortunately, I thought that it would be cool if the hair pieces between Vampy and Tigra could be swapped, because I thought there would be a lot of interesting, like, mixing and matching going on there. But if we pop the hair pieces off, you can see that Vampirella uses the same single socket that Tigra uses. The only issue being that the sockets are actually drastically different sizes. You can see right there that Tigra's is larger than Vampirella's. Also, I think Vampirella's noggin is a little bit bigger than Tigra's. So unfortunately, the hair pieces don't really swap between the two of them. Okay, so now that we have our hairpiece back on her, let's take a look at the articulation. That the head will do a full 360 if the hairpiece isn't on. But because of the high collar and this long hairpiece, which is rubbery, but it doesn't have a whole lot of give, there is a lot of friction that interferes with it doing a full 360 spin. You can even see when you turn to a certain point, it sort of forces her head down, that she doesn't, you'll have to like tilt the torso back to get her to look straight out. Now, that also interferes with her looking up for obvious reasons, but she can still look down fairly well. And there is some decent tilt side to side, but she can look left, she can look right, or reverse that, she can look left, she can look right. Now, looking at the arms, let's get that out of the way for now. They will do a full 360 spin. They will come up to here, well under 90. There's no butterfly joint, but you can see that there is a swivel right there on the ball joint. Arms will come up to 90 with a single elbow, and there is a hinge and swivel at the elbow. Wrists will pivot. Wrists hinge in and out, and when we take a look at the other hands, if there are any that hinge up and down, we'll take a look at those. Now, getting her arms up out of the way, you can see this is a solid piece. Her lower torso is a solid piece. There's nothing going on at the waist, but she does have this ab cut right in here that lets her crank back very well. And you can see they continue the sculpt of her outfit so that it just looks like it's stretching instead of just being bare skin right there. I dig that. I always like when they do that. She'll go forward very well, but you can see the gapping in the back piece right here. She has some real good rock side to side, and she can twist. It's a very loose joint. I like it. She could do a full 360, but because of the sculpt of the upper torso and the shape of the lower torso, if you turn too much, it will start to like oblong the upper torso piece. So I don't really go for like extreme torso twists with her. Now, coming down to the legs, the hips are not drop down hips. Like I said, Vampirella has a lot more going on down here than Tigra did. That is as far as her legs will come up. Even if you try and turn them to the side, you can only get about that much more, which I guess is just under 90. However, they come out to there, out to the side. Very good kick for her. And they go back very well as well. That ball joint that's in there, she has that hidden ball joint to turn at the thigh. It works, not as much as I would like it to, but it does work. Single jointed knees that come up to there, hinge and swivel at that joint. No boot cut, but these rubber pieces are loose, and you'll see why in a moment, because the feet of her boots with those big heels doesn't really do much while this is pushed down. But you can kind of muscle this, push that up to get it out of the way. It's black, I know it's hard to tell, but now you have more rock back, a lot more rock forward, and she does have forward facing pin for some rocker. And believe it or not, with these big heels on, she still has a foot peg right there. So now out of the box, you can see that she comes with these open hands. She has these wider splayed out hands. She comes with a couple of unique right hands where she has this pointing hand that is a very Vampirella gesture. And she also has this gesturing right hand that can actually be used for, like, holding up her bats that we'll take a look at in a moment. And finally, something that I find interesting is that she comes with this pair of gripping hands, and these do hinge up and down. And what I find interesting about this is she has these gripping hands, but she doesn't have any weapons to grip. All she has are bats, and they perch on her fingers. Also, I thought, once again, these might be repaints of Tigra's gripping hands, but if we bring these in and take a look at them, even just in the way that the fingers are sculpted, you can see that these are completely different. Now, going back to Tigra's box, we have Tigra's spear right here that I thought would fit into Vampy's hand, but she doesn't grip it tight enough to, like, really hold it unless you push it all the way up to the handle here. But yeah, she doesn't get a good grip on it. So I'm not entirely sure what these gripping hands are for, unless that's something that's coming later down the line. Not only does she have additional hands, but she has an additional hairpiece right here that is much shorter, wavier, blowing in the wind. Honestly, is more of a modern interpretation of the character in the comics. And truthfully, I kind of like this look better. And not only does she have additional hair pieces, but she has additional face portraits. And when I was looking at the box, I thought they were face plates, but they're entire head pieces right here. And here she is with fangs out. And here she is perfectly happy after a night out. So with the 3 head sculpts and the 2 hair pieces, there is a lot of mixing and matching that you can do with Vampirella. Now, not only do we have a removable bracelet and a static armband on this arm, but we also have an additional armband in gold right here that we can put on this arm. The first thing we have to do is remove the hand. And one thing I want to point out is, just like with Tigra, the pegs on these hands are very thin. Be gentle when you are popping the hands off and on. I would even recommend heating it up with some water before you pull it off, because look at how thin that peg is. That not only do I worry about it possibly breaking when I'm trying to pull it off, but also bending it when I'm pushing it back in. So then once the arm is off, once the hand is off, we can slip this armband on. And it is rubbery, it will bend when you're fitting it on, and it slides all the way up. And actually, I like the look of it on her a lot. I bring that all the way up to the top, put the hand back on her, gentle, and there you go. I do like it. I like the asymmetry of it, and I think having this over here helps offset all of this over here. That's just my opinion. I also really like how if you look up close to it, you can see sort of like that fanged demon skull right there on it. She definitely has a motif going. And speaking of skulls, 2 accessories the Vampirella comes with are 2 skulls. A demon skull right here and a human skull right here. That they didn't have to go so hard on these skulls. But look at this. Look at the aging. Look at the rot. Look at the cracks. Look at the blackwash on it. The only thing that's not happening is it's not articulated jaw. But because of how beautiful this sculpt looks, and look, there's meat in there too, I can handle it not being articulated. I think this looks fantastic. Those black sullen eyes. Now, we set that aside and we take a look at the demon skull, and it's more of the same. This looks freaking awesome. I love the moss growing on it. I love this aging. It's going to look great when we pull out the cemetery diorama. Once again, there's some dirt and some meat shoved in the bottom right here. I think these look fantastic. Like I said, they didn't have to go so hard on an accessory like this, but man, am I glad they did. And then there are her 3 bats, and it would have been so easy for them to just make like 1 or 2 sculpts and then just, you know, churn out different bats. But of course they didn't do that. That you see, we have different wing placements. We have this classic looking bat right here. We have this one right here that looks like he's in flight, which that just looks cool. And then we have this one that's transitioning that looks like he's either ready to take off or just came in to land. And all of them have these sort of hooked feet right here so that they can grab onto Vampirella's finger so that she can just sort of hold on to them. I'm curious because I think they may also be able to peg onto the tree branch of the graveyard diorama. We'll take a look at that when we get that together. And now taking a look at this right here, you can see how good they look just sort of hooked onto her finger right there. Now, I'm not going to lie, this isn't the best grip that they have. That you can see they fall off very easily. But they do look good. And I think that whenever we change out her hands to maybe some of those gesturing hands where the finger is like pretty much extended out, those were made specifically for this. So let's pop one of those on and take a look. So here we have the hand with the lone pointing finger sticking out, but like that's actually a little too loose. You can see it's falling off already. But these ones that she comes with out of the box, they seem to have the best perch for her bats right here. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a watch. It's not a strong grip, so you just have to be careful whenever you're posing her. And now we have the moment that we've all been waiting for, and that is the diorama piece. You can see it comes in different pieces so that it would fit in the bottom of the box. The tree branch here was actually in the top tray. Everything else here is part of the diorama that just all pieces together. So for things like the tree here, you can see that there is an L shape to the peg, which ensures that it's only going to fit in one way, like so. And then we have these 2 tombstones that will just pop in back here. Maybe I should have put them in before I put the tree in. And then we have this one that's blank that pops in, how's it go, this way. And then we have this headstone that has the Frazetta Girls Collectible Icons logo on it because branding, it's all about branding. And that goes down here at the end. And here it is complete, the graveyard diorama piece, and I have to admit, this looks fantastic. I didn't show you the last 2 tombstones because there's something very special about these 2 that I wanted to draw attention to. Frank and Eleanor Frazetta. How awesome is that? How cool is that? Now, Eleanor's gave me a little bit of issue when I was putting it in because I kept trying to drive it in straight down. What I failed to notice, and what I'm not going to be able to show you because once it's in, I don't want to try and take them out, is that her base, or the tombstone's base, is bent a little. So while I was trying to push this straight down, it wasn't fitting. That what you're supposed to do is the tombstone is supposed to lean back a little and fit in there. So just be aware of that whenever you're trying to push it in. Also, something I didn't notice until I was putting it together is that, disguised very well, there are foot pegs across the front of this so that it's not just like a diorama display, it's a figure stand too, which that's just awesome. So taking a closer look at this, like we have to talk about the sculpt of this diorama piece, not just the figure itself, because look at the detail work that went into the stone and the dirt and the mud and the skulls that are embedded into it, and just like the weathering on the tombstones themselves, right down to Frank and Eleanor having their actual dates etched into the tombstones, which is once again just such an incredible touch. We have the gnarled tree back here with some good texturing for the bark. On the back, not to be outdone, we have like the cemetery wall, or what would remain of the cemetery wall if this was growing against it. This is a fantastic way to just end the back side of the diorama piece. Once again, the brickwork is weathered and just chipped away at as well. I mean, the extra work that goes into not just the figure, but all of the accessories, everything that comes with it. I mean, what else can you say? Like, this in and of itself is like a work of art. And furthermore, yes, here you go. The bats can cling to the tree. And quite honestly, I think they cling to the tree more secure than they cling to Vampirella's finger. Just how awesome does that look? I mean, that might be my thumbnail right there. And now for size comparison, here she is beside fellow Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles Tigra and Dark Wolf. Now, even though Vampirella is taller than Tigra, I don't think she's bigger than Tigra. I think the reason Vampy is so much taller is just because of these boots that she's wearing. And here she is beside Loose Collector's Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Vampirella in the black outfit, and Loose Collector's Betty from the Betty and Rocketeer 2-pack. And between the two of these, like, I like the Loose Collector figure, don't get me wrong, and I would probably still really like the Loose Collector figure if I didn't have this one. Better sculpt, better skin tone, better proportions, better paint apps. Also, something to think about. This, admittedly, is on sale at Big Bad Toy Store right now, but it originally retailed for $79.99. $70 right here. You get the figure, all the accessories you saw, and also the diorama piece. $70 at Frazetta Girls. I think it's like $89.99 at Big Bad Toy Store. So, yeah. Here she is beside Jada Toys Universal Monsters Bela Lugosi Dracula and Hasbro Marvel Legends Blade. Here she is beside Mattel Masters of the Universe Masterverse Skeletor from the Havoc Throne and Masters of the Universe movie Evil Lynn, who at the moment is actually the only female figure I have for the Masterverse line. Here she is beside NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons Warduke and Grimsword. And finally, here she is beside Airborne and me from the G.I. Joe Steel Corps. Yes, we're back to this shtick again. Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles continues to knock it out of the park time after time. We have only taken a look at 3 figures so far. I have 4. We still have to take a look at the Norsemen, but I firmly believe that. The team of Aaron Doyle and Matt O'Toole work so well together that at this point it feels like they just know each other and they complement each other's work between sculpt and paint apps. Not only that, but having a licensed property like Vampirella right now really gets me excited about what this could mean for Icon Collectibles coming down the line. Like I said, I believe there is a Conan figure coming out as well, which I am very much looking forward to. But that could also mean other things that Frazetta worked on, that Frank Frazetta worked on. Things like Deja Thoris and John Carter of Mars. I would love to see those 2 figures. Those are 2 figures I never thought I would get, and I could see it coming out in this line. There's also plenty of other of Frank's works that could be translated into 3D plastic form. This line is just getting started, and it's already one of my favorite designer lines so far. If I had one complaint, and I am really reaching for a complaint right here, it's that the bat's feet are a little bit too loose, that they don't grip as tight as I would like them to. But quite honestly, that's really it. The figure is a work of art. They went hard on the accessories like those skulls when they absolutely didn't have to. And that diorama piece, topped off with having Eleanor and Frank's tombstones as part of the diorama piece, what can you say about that? This is an incredible, for the price that you pay for it. Like I said, order it from Frazetta Girls directly. That's the lowest price you'll get. It's $70 for all of this. That's incredible. This figure just tubbed my Loose Collector Vampirella. Seriously, check them out. Check them out at FrazettaGirls.com. Check them out on Big Bad Toy Store. I feel like this line isn't getting the attention that it deserves. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And more people need to put eyes on this line. This line deserves to thrive. Well, look who made it to the end, you legend. If you made it this far, please give the video a like and consider subscribing while you're clicking buttons down there. If you already are a subscriber, I want to thank you for taking time and hanging out with me and talking toys again. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel out, please consider becoming a member of the Steel Corps. You can do so by channel memberships or by becoming a monthly subscriber to my Ko-fi page. Link in the description below. Core members get access to members-only exclusive videos, the Discord server, and eventually members-only live streams, all for just $1 per month. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.